Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 352 for July 9th, 2024. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, it was a wild weekend in the Arena Football League playoffs. Texas quarterback Arch Manning will officially be in the new college football video game after all, and 3 AIF teams will now be joining the National Arena League. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
Again, we are in the middle of summer, and we have so much good football still happening.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of good stuff. It was a good weekend for us, just in general. There was good games on the telly,
Yes.
and then obviously, if you've been following us, we hit our 1,000 subscriber
Yep.
goal on YouTube. So
Thank you,
appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
I don't know what else you want to say about it. I'm not gonna.
Saturday was a great night. I don't know if you saw the thing that I posted on Twitter and Facebook, but I took a screenshot of my TV set because I'm looking at the what do you call it?
The TV.
Well, it was showing that arena football was coming on at 4:00, and then right after that was a CFL game at 7:00, and then you
on
had
CBS
WNBA.
Sports, yeah.
Right. So yeah, looking at the lineup on CBS Sports Net. So yeah, it was great because
did see that.
I was watching the arena game, and as soon as that was over, they rolled right into the CFL game, and I didn't have to change channels or do anything. And it was great. It was really, really nice.
Must be nice to sit on your butt and do that. I watched it the arena game on my phone, and I didn't catch the CFL game until I got home. I was at a birthday party on Saturday, so I watched a little bit on my phone with a newborn, well, slightly newborn. I got to hold the baby, so we were watching the game while everybody was just doing other stuff. So, yeah, so it was good. It was a good weekend. No, between realizing that we hit the 1,000 subscribers,
Yes.
and then thank you to my friend Brandon, who ended up being the 1,000th subscriber. Him and his wife were actually $9.99. She hit me up and was like, "Hey, I was $9.99," and I guess he came home from work. She said something to him, and he became 1,000. So thanks to Brandon from Marshall, Michigan. Appreciate you, bud. I don't know if he's listening right now or not, but hey, I'm still gonna give him a shout out and shoot, maybe have to get him a prize or something at some point.
Yeah, I got probably a knick-knack around here I'm not using. We can give him. For,
I'll have to message him and see if he even wants it. He's a guy who's pretty much got what he needs and wants and can make it himself. So we'll see. But hey, it's been a fun ride. So that just means a little inside baseball, I guess, real quick. That means we're now monetized on YouTube technically. We made a whopping 37 cents on Sunday.
We're in the money
when everything got rolling. Yep. So. Just to let everybody know that we're not going to let this change us at all.
I'm going out to get one of those big chains with the lions to put around my neck.
If you want, I can put 37 cents in a chain for you to carry around. That's the first money we've officially made with this podcast.
Most people, like when they start a business, they have, our first dollar that we ever made is up on the wall.
Yeah.
Put 37 cents in a frame.
I just might.
We'll put that on the wall.
We might as well. I think that's great. I think that's great. We're looking into doing some different stuff. Now it gives us some more options on the YouTube channel, like maybe some merch. I've been looking into that. Dan and I are discussing that. And obviously we're going to get all that figured out before we make anything official or put anything out there. Because we don't want to sell crap. We don't want to be those kind of people. I mean, while making money is nice, we still don't want to, put out bad product. Like that's why also one of our shows this week's on delay because of some issues. We'll talk about that in a second, but I'll let you get on with your spiel.
Okay. We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. We also have timestamps down in the descriptions of both the podcast and many of our YouTube videos, so you can go right to the topics you really want to listen to. You can also find our podcast in its full audio form on our YouTube channel. Just search for The World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @The World of Football in the YouTube search bar. You'll find other selected videos on our YouTube channel like Arena Football Weekly.
Arena Football League Weekly.
Arena Football League Weekly, yes. with Adam. He's week 10. They had one game last week, but
and we kind of talked some playoff news and all that.
Yep.
We'll do a show hopefully this week before the playoff games, but you might join me for that.
Yes.
Just to discuss.
Yes.
There's a lot to talk about.
But,
we'll talk about it here on the show too.
But we had some technical difficulties last night when we were trying to do another video. So
we're trying to do Canadian Football League.
Yep. Not sure what happened, but we're gonna give it a try again, maybe tomorrow, and see how that happens.
And if we can't get it up before the games this week, then we'll probably hold off and just wait till next week to do the next week's game. So I know the dozens of you out there just itching for the next weekly installment of Canadian Football League Weekly, but we're just trying to, we don't want to put out bad stuff anywhere. Like,
right.
Quality control is something I do take seriously.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, let's begin our tour around the world of football, and we start off this week with some postseason action in the Arena Football League.
That's right, everybody. Arena Football League playoffs. It was a mere 7-8 weeks ago that we all thought, boy, are they even going to get to the postseason?
Right, yeah.
And I mean, I was even scrolling through some of the old YouTube comments, and one video somebody was like, do they even see the end of the year? Does this league even make it? Well, they did. They had to go through a lot, but they made it. And what a weekend of postseason action it was. Friday night saw the number 6 seeded Nashville Cats defeat the number 4 seed Orlando Predators 62-32. Remember, this game took place in Orlando.
That was a huge upset.
It was a big upset. And it was on CBS Sportsnet. So it was actually nice to see a nice broadcast game.
Yeah.
I thought they did a pretty decent job.
Yeah, Ari Wolf.
Ari Wolf,
one of the announcers.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the announcing in a second. I definitely want to pick your brain about that. But Nashville, how about this? Let's give some praise to the Nashville Cats, who scored on the first play from scrimmage, which was an awesome touchdown.
Yes,
the guy
it was
caught it along the boards, had a defender right on him, and he pivoted, and then it was wide open field.
Shook him off.
It was great, and that pretty much set the tone for this game. They missed the PAT. And it was a fight back and forth there for a minute, but Nashville was up 36-20 at halftime. But Orlando couldn't do anything. They were shut out in the third quarter, and Nashville cruised to the easy upset win. Nashville had so much fight in them. I think having that quarterback, Randy Hibbert.
Right. This is only his second game.
And what have they done with him? They've upset the number 1 seed Billings Outlaws.
Won with him.
Yes. And it is a stark difference. And I know you got to see them in person before he became their quarterback.
Yes.
What would you say is the big difference in that team? Is it the quarterback play that has really made the difference for that team?
Yeah, really. When I went to my first Rampage game in 2000, we did not have Clint Dozell yet. He came along in 2001, and that was the difference for that team. He took them right to an Arena Bowl and won it. Clint Dozell made all the difference in Grand Rapids, and Randy Hibbert is making all the difference in Nashville right now.
Yeah, real quick, I want to quick story. I remember because we had season tickets. That was the first year you did season tickets.
2001, yes.
You went to a preseason game in Grand Rapids between, I want to say it was the Nashville Cats game. It was the Cats versus the Rampage in a preseason game.
Okay.
And I remember you coming home because I didn't get to go because we only had 2 tickets. So I think you and my uncle went. But you came back and you said, they got this new quarterback and this dude can sling it. And the Rampage started that season off 5-0.
Yeah.
Clint Dozell had an incredible year. Obviously, the Rampage went on to win the Arena Bowl that season. So, quarterback play is very important, especially in this game.
Yeah, I don't remember that being a preseason game, but I do remember after seeing him play in one game, I knew we got something special.
I distinctly remember because that at that time they had 2 preseason games because I think that same year the Rampage played the Toronto Phantoms in an exhibition game in Kansas City. They played like a neutral site preseason game that year, if I am not mistaken. I'm sure some other arena football historians could correct me if they're listening. Mm-hmm. But that's what I remember. But yeah, so kudos to the Nashville Cats. They seem to have a lot of pieces there. They just were kind of missing good quarterback play.
And we didn't know how they were going to do because
they had 3 weeks.
Yeah, they haven't played in quite a while. They kept getting a bye week every time the schedule kept changing. So we didn't know, was the bye weeks going to affect them? Were they going to come out sluggish because they hadn't played in a while? But man, oh man, it didn't hurt them at all. Obviously it helped them. So a lot more practice with Randy Hibbert. And man, they came out and they just destroyed the Orlando Predators.
Yeah, they did. And unfortunately, the Predators. I liked a lot of the guys they had on that team. Mm-hmm. I think Powell, the quarterback there for
Yes.
the
Yeah.
for the Predators. Man, he just had some rough decision making. He could make a couple plays with his legs, but man, they just couldn't put a whole game together, and that was the big difference there. And then on Saturday, we had the other playoff game. This was another one that looked like it was going to be a wild upset, but the number 3 seed Salina Liberty held off the number 5 seed Southwest Kansas Storm 41-35. Salina led this game 31-18 at halftime. They had a sweet hook and ladder play for a touchdown just before the half ended.
Yeah.
Salina was shut out in the third quarter. I'm trying to see. Then Southwest Kansas tied it at 34 each with 3 minutes and 33 seconds left in the game.
Yes.
So I was kind of dialed in at that point of the game. I was like, oh man, Southwest Kansas might come in for the upset.
Yep.
But there was a fourth down play on Southwest Kansas's end of the field. The Storm fumbled it into the end zone, recovered by the Liberty for the leading touchdown, and that
Right.
kind of sealed the deal at the end of that game there. The Storm had one last chance, though, but their wide receiver was stopped just short of the end zone. They tried to pitch it back, and for a moment there, I thought they might have pulled it off, but
Right.
he was down, or they said
Yep.
forward progress was stopped.
He hit the boards. He was,
Yeah.
he got contacted by a defender and shoved in the boards, and at that point, play's over. Even though they ripped the ball out of his hands, and recovered by Southwest Kansas, and the guy dove into the end zone, but it was too late. The play was already over.
Yeah.
So it took a minute to sort all that out at the end. So we didn't know, was it a touchdown? Is the game over? Did they score or not? And yeah, eventually they said yeah. And I posted a video of that last play. That was awesome. It was an incredible ending. Let's put it that way.
For sure. I mean, if you're the Arena Football League, I feel like you got to be pretty happy with your playoff week and maybe not having the Predators advance. And I wanted to ask you if you thought about what you thought about my conspiracy theory about the being number 6 versus number 4 and number 3 versus number 5, which is odd in terms of seeding. Usually it's 6 versus 3 and 5 versus 4.
True.
Do you think there's a conspiracy there? I admit somebody pointed out hey, maybe it was more the teams are closer, so we arrange the seating that way. It just makes sense, for travel costs and whatnot, which I could understand to a point. But then to make it seem like no matter what happened, the winner of this game is going to play this team. The winner of the Liberty Storm was going to play the Firebirds, and the winner of the Cats Predators was going to play the Outlaws. No matter what, to me, made it seem like they were trying to avoid a Predators Firebirds matchup till a potential Arena Bowl, which is, hey, in fairness, is moot now. It is no longer on the table.
Right.
And the number 6 seed is now ending up going to the number 1 seed anyway. So all my complaining or conspiracy theorying is amounted to nothing. So I just thought it was weird in that time. I was like, what a weird decision by the league. And I never heard any official why they did it like that. Was it travel cost? Was it the secret that they wanted to keep the Predators away from the Firebirds? Don't know. Anyway, it is done and over, but I was just curious what you thought.
Well, you look at those matchups. Friday you've got the Nashville Cats and Orlando Predators, 2 legacy teams in the Arena Football League.
True.
And you look at the other matchup, and it's 2 teams that came from the American Indoor Football?
Continental Indoor Football.
CIF.
CIF.
Okay. So you got Salina and Southwest Kansas. So yeah, they're close together. They've got their own little natural rivalry out there, I think. So yeah, I could maybe see that was more geographic is what they were going for.
Fair. But so that's I get that. I'm not trying to be Mr. Tinfoil Hat completely. I'm sure there were reasons for it, and I don't want to be like some of those guys in the forums who are like every little thing is a conspiracy theory. I just thought it was weird, and I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah.
So this sets up the semifinal matchups here, where on Saturday, July 13th, you're going to get the number 3 seed Salina Liberty taking on the number 2 seed Albany Firebirds. That should be interesting. These two teams did not play each other in the regular season.
Oh, okay.
So this should be fascinating. A Salina team that Albany hasn't seen, could be quite the matchup.
Right.
Salina could be prepped for a big upset. Albany has dropped 2 straight.
Mm-hmm.
Albany has had some time off, so how will that affect them? The other matchup being the number 6 Nashville Cats that same night at 10 o'clock Eastern against the number 1 seed Billings Outlaws in the location where the Cats came away with an upset victory.
Yeah.
Their last game before their 3-week buys,
Right.
their 3 bye weeks.
Yeah.
So don't even rule out the Nashville Cats now with the way Randy Hippert's been playing.
Yeah.
So these should be 2 excellent games.
Yeah.
I am very excited for this weekend's matchups.
Yeah. Salina and Billings. Well, I'm not sure about Billings. I don't think I've seen Billings play at all this year. But Salina did a little bit more running. A lot of the teams that came from indoor leagues, they're more predisposed to running than an arena team. A pure arena football league team is. So there's that they'll have to deal with. So yeah, we'll see. Both of the legacy teams left, Nashville and Albany, are going to be playing newcomers to the league. So it should be 2 interesting matchups this week.
Yep.
Looking forward to both games.
Yep, for sure. And obviously the winners of the semifinal games will play in Arena Bowl 33 Friday, July 19th at the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey at 5:30 Eastern on CBS Sports Net. And you'll be there.
I'll be there.
So
I'll be wearing a Rampage jersey, so look for me in the crowd.
Yeah, bright red Rampage jersey. So if I don't see you on TV, I'm going to ask you what the heck you were doing wrong. And then we have one news item this past weekend from the Arena Football League other than the games, and it is that DAZN is now carrying the AFL playoff games. They've made some special broadcast arrangement with them. I've seen the name DAZN before.
DAZN.
DAZN, yep. And
now they broadcast the games last week.
Yep, they broadcasted games this past weekend.
But they didn't make an official announcement. The league didn't make an official announcement.
Like the day or two before. Like I had already got my video done.
I thought it was after that
happened. I don't remember if it was after, but I remember because there was talk of it during the week from other outlets, like some of the other arena, sites. I don't even know if Arena Fan posted it, but Tim obviously made us aware of this story after the fact. At least after the video was done, he let us know the other day when it was official. So. Just interesting now that they have a provider that it does carry it for more international markets. So if you wanted to see arena games and you're outside the U.S., check out DAZN and they'll hook you up, hopefully. Because I know there was a lot of people asking, like, how do I watch the playoff games? I don't have CBS Sports and it's not on YouTube, so I can't stream it. So that's the way to go there.
Okay.
All right, guys, we are now going to head north of the border and talk some Canadian football. And I'm not talking just the CFL. We have another Canadian football to talk about. So we're going to start with the CFL. It was week 5 in the Canadian Football League. And on Thursday, July 4th, 4th of July here in the States, we were blessed to see a Canadian football game between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Toronto Argonauts, which saw the Roughriders take the victory 30-23. They did play the U.S. and Canadian national anthems before the game in Regina. Very cool spectacle.
Yep.
And
I was a little surprised at that, but I guess it made sense. They have a number of American players on the team, and it was the 4th of July, so I thought that was a nice little touch. They didn't
class
have to do
act that CFL. Yep. If we could just get Randy Ambrosie to help out some other stuff that we've been complaining about with the CFL. But other than that, the CFL is awesome. Yeah. I love the CFL.
Yep.
And this game was pretty good. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, though, with a new quarterback in, Shea Patterson took the reins for the Roughriders. Toronto seemed to struggle a bit. They had like 5 turnovers or something crazy during the game. I know Cameron Dukes had like 4 interceptions during this game.
No touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Oh, it was absolutely crazy. Yeah. But so Saskatchewan remains unbeaten with that victory. Then on Friday night, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers got their first win of the season by defeating the Ottawa Red Blacks 25-16. This was a fun one too. I thought the Blue Bombers, finally looked like their old selves. They had Chris Strevler.
Yes.
As their starting quarterback. Yep. That might have been the difference with actual prep time. Strevler seemed to, have a little bit more command of the offense, or was more tailored to his style of play.
His running style, yeah. And he hasn't started a game in the CFL since I believe it was 2019.
Yeah.
But yeah, they tailored that offense around him, and it worked.
Yeah, it's clear like with a little prep time, because when Strevler took over for the quarterback, Zach Collaros, in that game he got injured, he struggled at first. He kind of caught his footing towards the end of the game.
Right.
So clearly he needed some time, and I think having a week's prep time to know that you're the starter and you're not just a situational battering ram at the goal line.
He would just come in on short yardage situations and get a yard or two and score a touchdown or two here and there. But now he was the main guy all game long. So yeah, that preparation worked.
Yep. And then the Montreal Alouettes remained undefeated on Saturday night after a great comeback victory against the Calgary Stampeders, 30-26. It was superhero night there at the game.
Yeah, a lot of people were dressed up in costumes.
Yep, it's pretty sweet. It was also the battle of the brothers,
Yeah.
as Montreal wide receiver Tyson Philpott, who had 12 catches for 135 yards during that game, and his twin brother from Calgary, wide receiver Jalen Philpott, who ran the ball 2 times for 11 yards. It was cool seeing that. I think the dad had wasn't one of the dads a coach, or was that one of the other games? There was another set of father-son, I think, in the Toronto Saskatchewan game, I want to say.
I don't recall that. I just know that they were trying to make a big deal out of this battle of the brothers, and it turned out to be no battle at all.
No, yeah, Tyson Philpott is a candidate for league MVP in my opinion.
But to be fair, Jalen Philpott missed all of last season with an injury, so he's still obviously coming back from that.
Right.
He didn't even catch a pass, but he ran the ball twice.
But watching this game, these are highlights. If you're going to go check any out, these are your highlights of the week. Montreal was down for a bit, but the way they clawed back and got that victory was so. I just kind of knew sitting there watching. I was like, I think Montreal's still in this, and for sure, that they made it evident why they're the best team in the CFL.
I was actually rooting for Calgary. I wanted them to hand Montreal their first loss, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah.
Montreal is the team this year.
Yes, they are.
And even though I keep rooting against them, they keep winning.
Yeah, maybe you need to root for them, and maybe it'll go the opposite direction.
Yeah, they don't want me rooting for them.
Yeah, then Tim will yell at you.
Keep hating on us. We're doing fine. Yeah.
Yep. And then on Sunday, the British Columbia Lions manhandled the Hamilton Tiger Cats 44-28. They led 14-1 after the first quarter. The Lions just could do no wrong.
Never
in this
looked
game.
back on this game.
So many wide open plays.
Yeah.
The blown coverages by Hamilton. Hamilton's got so much to figure out.
Yeah.
And what stinks is having a quarterback like Bo Levi Mitchell, and they're still struggling. And I think Bo Levi Mitchell still threw 3 touchdowns. He still threw for over 300 yards, no interceptions.
Yes,
so
he had good stats.
He had great stats, but how often do we talk about having great stats does not mean squat in the CFL.
Absolutely.
It's a team game for
See it
sure.
all the time.
And the British Columbia Lions just look like a force, and they should be a fun team to watch in the coming weeks. And on bye this week, the Edmonton Elks. We know typically after 5 weeks we start talking standings on the podcast, but we'll probably wait till next week to start doing that with the CFL because we are going to be jumping over and talking about the WWCFL Championship game.
Yeah, that's the Western Women's Canadian Football League. There are a lot of women's tackle football leagues where all the pads and they play football just like here in the States. The big one is the Women's Football Alliance. They're in their playoffs right now. But the championship game in the WWCFL was held on June 23rd, and the Saskatoon Valkyries defeated the Regina Riot 36-21.
Love those names.
Yeah, I've been aware of the WWCFL for a while. I didn't hear much from them this year at all, but in years past I've seen them play. I wasn't sure they were still around, and all of a sudden, in fact, I've heard about this on the halftime show of the CFL game. From the TSN reporters, they were showing a couple of highlights from this game, and
this was a game that was back on June 23rd.
Yeah.
So this is 2 weeks old.
Yeah. Well, whatever. But I thought we'd mention it because, they do play women's tackle football out there, and they had their championship game, so I thought we'd mention it.
Right on. All right. So now we're going to jump back to the States and into some arena/indoor football. We got some more stuff to talk about in that realm. So,
do you want me to do these?
Yeah, why don't you do
You've been
these?
talking a lot.
I have been talking a lot.
I'll do these. I know I had you done for this, but the IFL. This was week 17 of 19 weeks, so they've only got 2 regular season weeks to go, and they'll be into their playoffs. So on Saturday there were 4 games and 3 games on Sunday. Let's see. On Saturday, the San Antonio Gunslingers defeated the Massachusetts Pirates 58-55 in a close match there. The Quad City Steamwheelers defeated the Sioux Falls Storm 45-44 by a single point. Wow. The Jacksonville Sharks defeated the Iowa Barnstormers 69-43. The San Diego Strike Force defeated the Vegas Nighthawks 60-59, another 1-point game. So 3 out of those 4 games were within 3 points of one another, 2 1-point games. And then on Sunday, you had the Frisco Fighters defeating the Duke City Gladiators by the score of 81-55 in a real shootout there. The Arizona Rattlers over the Tucson Sugar Skulls 44-37. And the last game on Sunday, the Northern Arizona Wranglers defeated the Bay Area Panthers by the score of 47-46. Northern Arizona was down by the score of 40-15 with 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
In the third quarter, I'm sorry. In the third quarter. So they had a whole quarter left to go, but they're down 40-15. But they wound up winning the game on a deuce with 4 seconds left by 1 point. So what an incredible
Absolutely.
finish. Come from behind win that was.
Heck yeah.
In that game. I think, I don't know if I had highlights, but there were a few articles about it and some pictures from the game. But yeah, what an incredible ending that was. And then on by in the IFL, it was the Green Bay Blizzard and the Tulsa Oilers sitting out last week.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Off the Wall. I believe that's where we saw this on X.
I think so.
Off the Wall, they follow indoor and arena football. They're very heavy on the indoor football too. So very good stuff there. I like following them to get that information. That's where we saw that this had even happened.
Right.
Otherwise, we would have just saw that score. We probably wouldn't have thought much of it. Because with the IFL, as much as I like the IFL, and we do, don't get us wrong. Like while we prefer the Arena Football League and we follow the Arena Football League a little more on this channel, the Indoor Football League, if they just put their highlights up a day or two sooner for us to keep up to do on the podcast, it'd be easier to talk about. Otherwise, I think they post their weekly highlights like on Wednesdays. So they're always a day after, so it's a little harder for us to keep up with all that. I always try to watch a game here and there if I see it on YouTube and I got time.
Yeah, we've watched. We were in St. Louis and we were watching a IFL game last year.
Yeah,
when we were there for a XFL game.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't have anything against the Indoor Football League. No. We used to have the Indoor Football League here in Michigan.
Yeah, there were a couple of teams.
So I like that league a lot. I love that their league has got so many thrilling, great games. While they do involve a lot of former arena teams, but I want this league to thrive as well. So good for them. And I know you're about to go into the standings, but I just wanted to say that real quick. Shout out to Off the Wall. There's a bunch of great X accounts out there that cover this stuff. So we encourage you to go follow it and find them because they're out there. There's guys who are super passionate about this stuff too.
Yep. All right, so looking at the standings in the IFL, after Week 17, in the East, it's the Frisco Fighters at 12-3, the Green Bay Blizzard at 11-3, the Massachusetts Pirates at 8-7, Quad City Steamwheelers at 7-7, Tulsa Oilers at 5-9, Jacksonville Sharks and Iowa Barnstormers at 4-10, and the Sioux Falls Storms in last place in the East with a 3-11 record. In the West, Bay Area Panthers at 11-3, the San Diego Strike Force and the Arizona Rattlers at 10-5, Vegas Nighthawks at 9-5, Northern Arizona Wranglers 9-5, San Antonio Gunslingers 7-7, Duke City Gladiators and Tucson Sugar Skulls at 2-12. All right, let's move on to the Arena League. No relation to the Arena Football League. This was their Week 6, I believe, and they had one game. The Kansas City Goats defeated the Ozarks Lunkers by the score of 67-60, and the other two teams were on by the Iowa Woo and the Duluth Harbor Monsters. And then there was also one championship game last week. You've heard us talk about this league over the last several months where some of their teams were playing teams in other leagues. The AAL2, the American Arena League 2, their championship game was held on July 6th, and it was the Wheeling Miners improving to a perfect 10-0 on the season with a win over the Peach State Cats by the score of 61-14. That game was played in Wheeling, West Virginia. The Miners will be moving to the National Arena League next year in 2025.
Which dovetails so nicely now into the story from the National Arena League.
Yes, which just came out just a few hours ago. We saw this. 3 teams from American Indoor Football, the AIF, are going to be joining the NAL in 2025. Those teams are the Corpus Christi Tritons, the Harrisburg Stampede, and your 2024 AIF champion, Columbus Lions. Now you add the Wheeling Miners to that list, and the NAL is currently sitting at 9 teams for next year. So the teams that are already there are the Omaha Beef, the Sioux City Bandits, the Carolina Cobras, Colorado Spartans, and the Idaho Horsemen. Now, there were a couple other teams that I had in my spreadsheet that were associated with them this year, like the Oklahoma Flying Aces. They
Yeah.
played like 4 games and then they shut down for the rest of the year.
So we don't know if they'll be
Don't know
back.
if they're going to be back. There was also a team called the North Texas Bulls. I don't know if they played any games,
I don't
but I
think they
think
did.
in
They
the
shut down
preseason,
before the league even
right?
started.
And the Topeka Tropics, they've been around a couple of years, and I don't think they ever got a start this year,
I
but
don't
they were
think they
supposed to be in the league. So we'll see if any of those teams show up in another league, or if they do come into the NAL. I mean, I would think they would like to have one, maybe 3 teams more to make it either a 10 or 12 team league.
And I wondered, and we talked about this off mic, but I speculate maybe they're waiting for some of these arena teams for the Arena Football League season to be done. To
Oh,
move.
the 8 teams that didn't make it to the
Yeah,
end
they
of the
got a
season.
bunch of teams they could poach from there. Well,
Could be.
except for a couple of I wouldn't be shocked if the Oregon Black Bears jumped over there.
Could be.
Not to be, and to be honest, maybe even the Washington Wolfpack could be a team.
Iowa Rampage.
Well, who knows? Like some of those, who knows? It's hard to say right now.
Yeah.
We'll see what the Arena Football League does. But I mean, a couple of like this, the ones that kind of just peered off at the end for no reason, like the Desert Hawks would have been one that maybe could have, but
Right.
man, they're just shut down for good. The
I'm
Oregon
thinking
Black
they-
Bears might be the only one because they
I'm
seem like they
thinking
wanted to keep
They
playing.
may be back next year. The Desert Hawks. I'm thinking they might be back.
I don't
in the
think they
AFL
will.
next year.
I
No?
think they're done. I think
Okay.
unless they find a new owner, I think they're kaput.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, everything's up in the air in these indoor and arena leagues. So
Yeah.
that's all good.
Yep. It's all very fluid.
Yep.
All right. Let's go over to Europe now, and we're going to talk about the European League of Football, the ELF.
Yep, that's right. So there were a bunch of games this weekend and a lot of weird stuff to also kind of bring up. But first, let's talk about 2 of the better teams in the league matched up on Saturday, and that was the Vienna Vikings taking out the Raiders Tirol
Yep.
from
Tyrol.
Austria, 27-19. I watched these highlights. This was a good game. The Vikings just have such a good team put together. And the Raiders, they struggled at a couple points. If they could clean up a couple mistakes, I think the Raiders could still give the Vikings a run for their money. So keep an eye on the Raiders too. They're not going to be, somebody to sleep on come postseason time. But the Vienna Vikings, though, I think it'll be funny if the Vienna Vikings get a championship and the Minnesota Vikings are just sitting here in the States without anything. Because the Vienna Vikings look just like the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm going to have to troll some Vikings fans with, hey, that Vikings team, they look great and they won a championship. I'm just saying.
But aren't their horns going in the other
Yeah,
direction?
the horns are just slightly different. And it's like a slightly darker purple on the helmet, but their uniforms you could look at them and be like, clearly they're kind of taking on the Minnesota Vikings right there.
clone of the Minnesota
And the
Vikings.
Tyrol Raiders look like the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh,
and I think there was some sort of partnership there. There's some connection there.
Could be.
So you just got to dig into that. All right, now let's get into some of the weird. The Munich Ravens shut out the Barcelona Dragons 54-0, which you would think, hey, that's a normal, respectable score. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the score at halftime. Because at the half, the Barcelona Dragons players refused to come out of the locker room, and they forfeited the game.
Forfeited the second half.
And
of the
forfeited
game,
the second half, forfeited the game, and the final score is that 54-0. But a weird week for the Dragons, though. They parted ways with their head coach, David Shelton, a few days prior to the game. So that was already weird enough of itself. And then to have the players refusing to come out of the locker room in the second half of that game, after they were just getting manhandled by the Munich Ravens, who are also one of the top teams in the league.
There's a lot going on with that Barcelona team. We'll have to see what happens.
It'll be interesting coming
in
up
the
this
coming
week.
days and weeks to see
And
what happens. With
and
them.
it sucks for a league like the European League of Football, which seems to have been. I mean, I don't know all the behind the scenes drama. We've only been covering them on our podcast.
Right, yeah, this is our first year covering them.
covering them, and even then, it's been like, oh, we see some highlights, we've seen some scores. It's not like we keep all up to date on every breaking news item happening in the league or rumors. There's other dedicated areas you could find that if that's what interests you. I know there's like a Reddit thread. Somebody did a video on this, so I kind of watched that for a minute about the Dragons and some of their issues. But it is a weird, terrible black eye to kind of put on this league that I thought from the outside looking in was this is a well-run league with a bunch of teams that are playing some competitive football. They got their social media game on point. And to have something like this happen is very unfortunate, especially a team like the Barcelona Dragons, whose name, even if, you're a young NFL fan, you might be like, that name sounds familiar. And, it's associated with NFL Europe.
Right.
It was kind of one of the, teams that started this new ELF. So it stinks to see a team like that be the team that had to forfeit a half of football. So hopefully going forward, they get their stuff figured out. Because earlier this year, they had an investigation into them about one of their players being eligible for a game or something like that. I never heard the results of that. You remember that story we covered a couple weeks back?
I vaguely remember
Yeah,
that.
so something always with the Dragons. I don't know what's going on there, but I digress. Also Saturday, the Helvetic Mercenaries from Switzerland defeated Randy's Milano Seamen 16-10. Then the Madrid Bravos defeated my Frankfurt Galaxy 46-15. A couple of beatdowns. Well, yours was a little closer. Mine was a beatdown. Speaking of beatdowns, the Berlin Thunder shut out the Fehérváron Throners 47-0. The Paris Musketeers defeated the Hamburg Sea Devils 41-18. The Wrocław Panthers defeated the Prague Lions 14-3, and the Rhein Fire, the defending ELF champions, destroyed the Cologne Centurions 62-9.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Stuttgart Surge, who might be the best team in the league or the second best team, depending, were on bye.
It is Stuttgart.
Stuttgart, my
Yeah,
bad.
you've been
My
saying
apologies.
Stuttgart, but it's Stuttgart.
Yeah, there's an extra T in there. I'm sorry. I like to blame my Michigan accent for some of that, but I can't if Randy gets it right. But all right, we're going to look at the ELF standings after 7 weeks. In the East, you have the 7-0 Vienna Vikings, followed by the 4-3 Berlin Thunder, the 3-4 Wrocław Panthers, and the 0-5 Fehérváron Throners, and the 0-7 Prague Lions. In the Central, you have the Stuttgart Surge at 5-0 again, and then the 5-2 Tyrol Raiders or Raiders Trio or Tyrol. Man, I'm bad at this. Then you have the Milano Seamen at 3-4, the 3-3 Munich Ravens, who they seem like a better team than that 3-3 record. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
The Barcelona Dragons at 2-5, and the Helvetic Mercenaries at 0-6. In the West, you have the Rhein Fire at 6-1, the Paris Musketeers at 4-1, the Madrid Bravos at 3-1, the Frankfurt Galaxy at 2-3, the Hamburg Sea Devils at 2-3, and the Cologne Centurions at 1-4. And yes, I realize I said Centurions a couple different ways there in that whole thing. So I am aware.
That I didn't catch, but Stuttgart.
Yeah, Stuttgart. Yeah, I got to get better at that.
my ear.
That's on me. Yep.
Yep.
All right, guys. Now we come back to the good old US of A to wrap up this week's tour, starting with some NFL stuff.
All right, yeah. According to Pro Football Talk, national NFL revenue reportedly hit $13 billion in 2023, which is up from $11.98 billion in 2022. When you add in local revenues, the total will be well over $20 billion for 2023.
Man.
Yeah, this league is nothing but a money-making machine.
It is.
People keep paying for personal seat licenses and luxury boxes, and people just love to spend money at this league. I don't get it.
You don't get why people want to spend money on the NFL?
No, when I can sit at home and watch every stinking game I want of my team, because I live in Michigan, so I get all the Lions games here for free on TV. I can watch every game of the season, playoffs, Super Bowl, and I don't have to pay a dime. And we do go to games. I've been to see every team play. I just don't get all the money. I was really reluctant to put out the kind of money to go to that playoff game last year, but I eventually did because you guys talked me into it, and it was great. But that's like a one-time thing.
Well,
I'm not going to do that all the time when I can stay home and watch it for free.
but this is more than just that. I mean, just the teams. Yeah, the prices are going up for tickets and whatnot.
Yep.
Especially you look at the Lions, especially. And it's oh my gosh, they're gouging these loyal fans.
Yeah, they got to the NFC Championship game, and now the prices are through the roof.
Yeah, imagine what'll happen if they ever get to a Super Bowl. But I don't know. Look, this league is. It's a money printing machine. Yeah. It doesn't matter the scandal. It doesn't matter the ups or downs. This league is going to be on top. Having Taylor Swift last year might have helped a little bit for some of that. I'm sure there was a Taylor Swift effect. I'm waiting for that article to come out. If it's not already out there, I'm sure somebody will point us in the right direction. But look, the NFL is king for a reason. And we joke and we sigh sometimes at some of the stuff the NFL does, but look at the results. They clearly have smart people running this thing because they're making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
They're making so much money that this lawsuit that they're going to have to end up paying money for, the DirecTV thing, like while it might hurt them for a minute, like it's not going to be long. They'll be able to recover from it.
Yeah.
People are just going to turn around with that money anyway and give it back to the NFL. We talked about that last week.
What do they have to pay? Was it $4 billion?
It was something like that, spread out between the 32 teams. Then
Okay,
the teams,
that would mean that they would only have made $16 billion last year.
Yeah.
If they have to pay that whole thing, and they're going to drag that out.
Yeah.
All that money's going to go towards lawyers' fees to try and get them out of having to pay that anyway.
But so it doesn't shock me that this is how much this league's making. It's the most popular sports league in the country. And they're getting their foot in the international markets as well.
Yeah.
So that's helping out. So it's a league that's going to keep growing and growing. So I'm not totally shocked by any of this.
Yeah, I love international football. That's why we go to Toronto and we go watch the CFL and
Vancouver later this year.
Yeah, that's my idea of international football is driving across the border and seeing a great football game.
As long as if the European League of Football keeps going like they are, I would boy, I'd be interested in going overseas and seeing a game at like in Germany or something. I think that'd be fun. I'm just throwing it out there.
You wouldn't want to go to
I'm gonna manifest
Milano?
No, I don't want to see. Well, I mean, it's in Italy.
See the country of your ancestry.
Actually,
Italy?
you know what? You want to do a tour of Italy and end up at a football game, Randy? Shoot, we could do that video.
The only tour of Italy I want is the one at Olive Garden.
I knew it. As soon as I said that, I knew I was setting up a food thing. Dang it. I wanted to capitalize on that, but you did. Now I'm going to text my girlfriend and see if she wants Olive Garden now.
All right. While you're doing that, another NFL story. I'm calling this an NFL story because the UFL's Birmingham Stallions have been honored at the Pro Football Hall of Fame after winning their third consecutive spring championship. They won the USFL title in 2022 and 2023, and this year they won the UFL title. A game ball and a game-worn jersey from Stallions quarterback Adrian Martinez from the UFL's championship game has been placed on display in the Hall of Fame's Pro Football Today gallery. I'm not sure where that's at. I'm thinking
it's got to be that one big entrance right. Remember when we saw Matthew Stafford's he had that special ball that was put in. I want to say it was in there.
They have a kiosk where they've got like NFL Europe, highlights and
you think it's down there?
A bunch of other stuff, yeah.
Like where they got the USFL thing too, maybe?
Right. Yeah, and at the end, you turn to the right, you go down a couple of steps, and then there's the history of the NFL. They've got the Super Bowl and the NFL trophy.
There is a staff member with the World of Football who has never been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Maybe we gotta throw him in the car and get down there to see where this actually is and make a video about it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we could do that. Did you see the memory I posted on Facebook the other day?
I don't follow you, Facebook.
It was it was from 2 years ago, and it was Aaron and I at the Pro Football Hall of Fame with the NFL trophy.
Yeah, I was there. I think I was a little mad. I saw that memory. I was like, wait a minute. I was on that trip. Yet it's a picture of you and Aaron.
Well, you weren't in the picture. I don't know. You were probably off somewhere else looking at something.
Because there's a picture of the three of us with the trophy, too. I was like, why didn't he post that?
Ah.
But no, he singled out his other son, the son that doesn't do a weekly podcast.
That was the memory that popped up for me. So I said, okay, I'm going to
whatever.
show this.
I just am so upset right now.
And another story from the NFL that you brought to my attention.
Yeah, I thought this was fun.
Jacksonville Jaguars defensive end Joshua Allen will be changing his name to Joshua Hines Allen.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, because I mean, you hear Josh Allen, you automatically think of Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. They were drafted in the same draft class, I want to say. Or maybe they wasn't in the same draft class. But they did play against each other in one game, so it was like Josh Allen sacked Josh Allen. And it was a little confusing, but when I first saw this, I was like, okay, he's finally just trying to separate himself from that Josh Allen. But it was more of something to do with his family. It was honoring other people in his family. So he's like, look, I'm going to change it to Hines Allen. And I thought it was pretty cool. I think it's cool that the Jaguars social media team, they made I won't say they made a big deal about it, but it's like, I like that they put this out there the way they did. It was a nice 1.5 minute video of him explaining why he was doing it.
Yep.
Showed them changing the nameplate on the back of his jersey. And for a star player for your team, heck yeah, I think that's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
so,
and they're changing it on his locker too.
Yeah.
Putting up a new
It
nameplate
was
over his
I liked
locker.
it. I thought it was a cool little
It was
video.
nice. It was kind of cool.
Yep. And I know this isn't on the rundown, but I wanted to ask if you saw the rumors on who the Super Bowl halftime show was going to be.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
So the rumor right now is that the NFL supposedly, we're in a big grain of salt here, everybody, Miley Cyrus is your
Hmm.
front runner for the halftime show. So if we're looking for a Janet Jackson-esque type of performance, ladies and gentlemen, we might finally get it. And it's in New
Yeah.
Orleans, where guess what? Those beads are going to get you some views of some stuff.
Oh,
So
this will probably be the last
is like a match
halftime
made in heaven
show
for
that
New
they
Orleans.
ever have for a Super Bowl. They're going to bring back Up With People to do the halftime show after this, I think. Man.
this would not be a problem if they just hired Weird Al to do your halftime show.
Absolutely. Weird Al don't do no bad shows.
He does not. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I mean that
Yeah, I
could
had not
probably
heard
change.
that.
That's been the rumor going around.
You know, we don't get into rumors too
I
much
know, but I
here.
thought it was a fun rumor because I was like, well, I mean, I've seen a couple of names actually bring it up. I'm like, okay, they're saying something. There's got to be something to it. So maybe she's in negotiations. And I get it. You want a fun, provocative halftime show, but we'll see. I mean, they can't do Katy Perry again. They can't do Lady Gaga again. Taylor Swift ain't going to do it because she'll be wanting to watch Travis Kelce in the game itself.
Yeah.
So, and good luck paying her.
Yeah, and they don't pay
they don't even pay 'em.
They don't pay the halftime performers, so yeah.
Yep. I just thought that was interesting.
Okay. Let's see. Hard Knocks off season with the New York Giants. Episode 1 came out the other day.
So should we talk good or bad first? Which is essentially, do I go first or do you go first?
You go first.
All right, look, I'll be the positive side here. Spoiler alert, Randy might not be on the positive side of this. I thought it was good. Not great, but good. It was a shorter episode. It was like about 40 minutes in length, so a little shorter than I thought for as much of the time frame that they were kind of covering. I was like, okay, whatever, 40 minutes, I can roll with this. It was just fascinating to see the behind the scenes with the front office talking about what do we do with Saquon Barkley? What do we do with some of these contracts? What kind of free agents are we looking at? Well, this is what the running back market looks like. And they're actually going through numbers and they're going through some of the guys and what the criteria is they're kind of looking for. Like, hey, so-and-so is good, but for that amount of money, he doesn't do this very well. I just kind of liked that aspect of it. What I didn't like about it was, I think, the GM himself. I was not impressed by him. I'm not saying he's not a smart guy. I just don't think he's got... This is why you don't and shouldn't put every guy on TV in your organization. Like some guys just aren't meant to be TV personalities. And this guy just... Not a complete wet paper bag, because he was still interesting to a couple of points. But I don't know, he carried... They had to put this whole episode kind of on his shoulders, and I just wasn't totally on board with that. But the content, though, of the off-season stuff they had to worry about, I was all on board with. I thought that was interesting. What about you?
Well, to quote a line from Point Counterpoint, an old skit from Saturday Night Live, Adam, you ignorant pup.
Oh, whoa.
This was the most boring show I have ever watched about the NFL. I did not care for it at all. I was totally bored with it, and the only good thing was that it was so short. Now, the next episode, I guess, is supposed to take place around the draft. That one might be a little more interesting, but for the most part, I did not care for this first episode. I could care less what they're doing as far as, yeah, I mean, the whole story about Saquon Barkley being traded. Should we trade him? Should we sign him? What are we going to do with him?
What are the pros and cons of all the decision making? That's what I liked.
I don't need to see that.
See, you watch Game of Thrones.
I already know the results.
You've watched Game of Thrones before.
Yes, you've made me watch Game of Thrones.
Yes, you watched all 8 seasons. And you have not watched House of the Dragon. Why you haven't, I don't know. Because it's a great show.
Because I watched the first one, I don't need to watch anymore.
Anyway, what I liked about that kind of stuff is it's, people are like, oh, it's all about the battles. It's all about the swordplay and the dragons. And it's like, well, I think it's actually fascinating when you do all the behind the scenes stuff, all the conniving and the planning and the plotting, that eventually you see the fruits of that, eventually develop into, in this case, a football team. But like Game of Thrones, it's like, hey, look, all these decisions behind the scenes eventually led to this battle, eventually led to this character taking the throne or, positioning themselves differently. I like that aspect. It's like a chess match, and seeing the off-season stuff, it's just interesting to be, in that kind of headspace where it's just like, that's what us as fans speculate and like not dream about, but like, how many people sit in the bar and go, look, if I were the Giants, I'd sign Saquon for X amount of dollars. But you're actually seeing what the actual repercussions are. It's, hey, look, Saquon's at this point in his career. This is the type of production we're getting out of him. And it just doesn't make fiscal sense for us when he's X amount of percentage of our entire salary to keep him. And that's the hard truth of the NFL. And that's a lot of stuff that people don't understand. Like when your favorite player gets cut, you're like, why did they dump, like, or I'm trying to think of a good example lately of a guy that like was a cap casualty other than Saquon Barkley. But you get somebody like that you're just like, why did we get rid of that great player? And it's, well, it's financially just
Dollars and
unviable.
cents, yeah.
It was like when the Grand Rapids Rampage got rid of Clint Dolezal and a couple other big money guys. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to millions of dollars, but still for an arena team, like you're dropping a guy for money because it's like, look, we can't afford to pay him, and we can spread that around to, instead of a quarterback, we can spread that to 3 other players that fill out needs. So I just find that fascinating. And while I'm not saying it's the greatest thing they've done, it's a formula that I would like to see improved on going forward. And I'm going to watch tonight's episode as well.
No, I just didn't care for it. But what I do care for is the next series coming out, which is Receivers.
Oh, yes.
Which is coming out tomorrow
Yeah.
on Netflix.
And they dump all 8 episodes, I think, at one time. So
Yeah.
so you get to, I'll probably have to watch an episode or 2 every night for a few nights and see how many we get to before next week. But I'm looking forward to Receiver.
Yeah, they. I just posted a thing on our social media where the Today Show interviewed.
Oh, yeah, I saw you.
Interviewed.
I need to watch that.
4 out of the 5 guys on there, and that was a good little interview. And they talked to all 4 of them, or 4 out of the 5 anyway.
Who's the one that wasn't there?
The guy that Deebo Samuels.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, he's having a contract issue with the Niners anyway.
Yeah, but the other 4 were there.
Okay,
and
cool.
So yeah, I guess that was this morning. I didn't see it this morning. I usually don't watch Good Morning America, but they did have it on Twitter or Facebook or whatever.
Okay,
But I reposted
I'll
that.
definitely have to find that.
Yep. Let's see. In some college news, according to Pro Football Talk, again, we seem to be referencing them quite a bit this week. Quarterback Arch Manning of the University of Texas has changed his mind and will opt into the EA Sports College Football 25 video game after all.
Yeah.
You remember, we had that story where he said, I'm not going to opt in. He really didn't give any reasons. All they're getting is $600 and a free copy of the game. I don't know if he didn't think that was good enough or what, but I don't know who talked to him and said, you need to be in this game, but he's changed his mind. He's going to be in the game. The game is due out in 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 19th, a week from this Friday, the game will be out. So I guess he's going to be a part of it. I guess, they don't do any hard copies of the game anymore.
Well, they do.
But
But no, so you were confused, and this is so cute, everybody. Randy was like, they have 10 days till this game comes out. How are they going to put him in the game?
because I'm thinking, hard copies of DVDs or CDs to put this on. And they're still going to mass produce them and get them out in stores so that
they've already made the game. It's probably already been printed. But what they do is,
I can say on the online version if you download it.
What you do is you get the game, your hard disk that's got basically the main game. But what you could do with the rosters and the players, it's like an automatic download. So you put the game in and you update the game from the jump. So like when I plug it into my Xbox to play it, it'll be like, here's an update, and they will update that new data that includes Arch Manning.
The Arch Manning update.
Yeah. Pretty much.
See, I don't play video games, so I don't know.
I'm trying to get
stuff.
you to for video.
Yeah, that's the only reason I keep you around is to explain all this technology
Yep,
stuff.
you're very welcome, man. Even then, you don't get it.
No, I don't. You have to explain it a couple times.
How many times
it doesn't sink in the first
even
time.
with the stuff over the weekend with the YouTube channel, you were lost. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, this is all new to me. So
Yeah.
it takes a while. All right, let's move on to some birthdays. Actually, one birthday for today, July 9th. Quarterback Trent Green turns 54 years old today. Played his college football at Indiana. Was selected in the 8th round of the 1993 NFL Draft by the San Diego Chargers. However, he signed with the CFL's British Columbia Lions and played 1 season in Canada in 1994. I did not remember that. Then he signed with the Washington Redskins and played for that team in 97 and 98. He signed with the St. Louis Rams in 1999. Suffered a season-ending knee injury during the 1999 preseason, was replaced by some guy named Kurt Warner, who went on to lead the team to a Super Bowl in 2000. I bet Trent Green is still kicking himself over.
Yeah, I'm sure it eats at him a little bit.
Yep. Let's see. Then Trent Green went on to play for the Kansas City Chiefs from 2001 to 2006. the Miami Dolphins in 2007, and he returned to the St. Louis Rams in 2008.
Unfortunately for Trent Green, he's always going to be the guy remembered
Yep.
for the guy before
Yeah.
Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
Just kind of like how Drew Bledsoe, unfortunately, is looked at.
The trivia question: Who was the quarterback that got injured that Kurt Warner replaced and went on to win a Super
And
Bowl?
the same with Drew Bledsoe. Even though Drew Bledsoe took the Patriots to a Super Bowl and lost,
Yeah.
I mean, Drew Bledsoe is that. Who was the quarterback before Tom Brady took
Yep.
over? And
Yep.
so he's in that vein. And there's always that's the sucky thing sometimes. There's those guys,
Yeah.
your Trent Greens, your Drew Bledsoes, the guys who were there before. And then don't forget Alex Smith, the guy before Patrick Mahomes. There's three of them right there. I'm
Yeah.
sure somebody else could comment a bunch of other ones that
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking about at the top of my head. So
Yeah, listen to this show. Maybe you'll win a trivia contest sometime with all the information we're
we've
giving
got.
you.
Yeah, right. And if you do, I want that free plate of mozzarella sticks you got at your local bar.
Sounds good right now. Let's see. We have a couple of obituaries today. Greg Larson, an offensive lineman in the NFL for 13 seasons, has passed away at the age of 84. Larson played college football at Minnesota and won a college football national championship there in 1960. He was selected in the 6th round of the 1961 NFL draft by the New York Giants. He was also selected in the 11th round of the 1961 American Football League draft by the San Diego Chargers. He chose to sign with the Giants and played his entire career in New York from 1961 to 1973. He missed only 3 games during his career due to injury. Larson was inducted into the University of Minnesota's M Club Hall of Fame in 2010.
All right. Before we move on to the second obituary, I do want to point out that Randy missed the trademark slogan that I love hearing every week when we do the obituaries, which is where we take a moment to honor those who have made the world of football a better place. But unfortunately, this next story is a bit heartbreaking. I mean, Kyrie Jackson, a rookie cornerback with the Minnesota Vikings, passed away in a car crash this past week in Maryland at the age of 24. Very sad stuff when I saw that come across the ticker this week. Jackson played college football at Alabama and was selected in the 4th round of the 2024 NFL draft by the Minnesota Vikings. 2 of Jackson's former high school teammates were in the car with him, where they were also killed as a result of the crash. They are Isaiah Hazel, and who played at UNC Charlotte and Maryland, and Anthony Lighton Jr., who played at Florida State and Penn State. So very sad stuff. And it makes me wonder, I'd have to look and see where he was drafted in that round of the draft, because that's where we were at the draft. We were there for the 4th round.
Yeah.
And we could have been there when his name got called.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'll have to look up, see whereabouts he was picked. But I mean, bit of a bummer. I mean, rookie corner.
Three guys who all played college football. They were high school teammates. They went their separate ways. They're getting back together for a reunion now. And the details of this crash were something else. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They're driving down the highway, and a car cut them off. The other driver, it sounds like he was at fault because he cut in front of them, going at high rate of speed. There was alcohol involved. I don't think anybody in that car was killed, maybe seriously injured, but these other 3 guys went off the road, hit a couple of tree stumps, I think, with the car. And just an awful, awful story. I've said it before. There are happy obituaries like our previous gentleman there, Mr. Larson, who was 84 years old.
Right.
That's a happy obituary, a person that lived a long life and probably had many kids and grandkids. You don't mind an obituary like that. You're honoring that person. A 24-year-old guy and 2 of his buddies about the same age is just an awful, awful obituary.
Yeah, a guy about to start his NFL career.
Yep.
You hate to see it.
Yep, just a real tragedy. All right, let's move on. Finally today, the upcoming events calendar. Tomorrow, Wednesday, July 10th, Receivers premieres on Netflix. 8 episodes. You said they're going to drop them all?
I'm pretty sure they drop all of them at the same time. That's what Netflix does.
Okay. Let's see. Friday, July 19th, Arena Bowl 33 at the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey, which is right next to Giant Stadium. And I will be there for that. That same day, the EA Sports college football video game gets released. Friday, the 26th of July, and Saturday, the 27th, the 3 championship games in the Women's Football Alliance will be played at Tom Benson Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Thursday, August 1st, the Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, featuring the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. That is only 23 days from now.
Crazy.
It
Absolutely
is
crazy.
absolutely nuts. They're going to be starting up training camps here in a week or so.
Yep.
Let's see. Saturday, August 3rd, the 2024 enshrinement ceremonies at the Hall of Fame. Let's see. Tuesday, August 6th, Hard Knocks training camp with the Chicago Bears. A 5-episode series will premiere on HBO and Max. Saturday, the 24th, week 0 in college football begins. I think they've got like 5 or 6 games that day. Let's see. Thursday, September 5th, the NFL regular season begins with the Ravens at the Chiefs that night. And the next evening, September 6th, the Eagles versus the Packers in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That game is exclusively on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
All right. Anything else before we call this a show?
No breaking news. We are good to probably just wrap this thing up.
All right, let's do that. That's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can also follow The World of Football on Facebook, X, and Instagram, where the address for all 3 of those is TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us on whatever Alexa devices you may have. You can also find the full audio version of this show on our YouTube page. Just enter the World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle at the World of Football in that search bar to find us. So please spread the word, subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation. Like I said, after we're hitting 1,000 subscribers, we're trying not to harp on it anymore. We appreciate everybody out there who stuck with us to get to this point, and we're trying to figure out if we're going to do a special video or something to commemorate hitting 1,000 subscribers. So be on the lookout for that.
Like your brother Aaron said, I'll be glad when you guys hit 1,000 subscribers, so you'll shut up about it now.
Trust me, I am the same. It's when you reach that goal, it's just like, or you're that close to that goal, it's like you're trying everything to like, well, what else do we have to do? We keep letting everybody know now that we're here, we have reached this point, and I think we can settle down a smidge to just kind of
focus on other things now.
Well, focus on other things, but focus on how to keep making stuff better. I mean, making the 37 cents is nice. But I mean, we are still trying to grow.
Right.
We have other goals and stuff in mind, and we're just trying to figure out how to go about them, especially with our busy life. Well, my busy life and your retirement.
My even busier retired life.
Yeah, even busier retired life. As he says, it's busier, but it's not.
I wanted to say one thing about our email address, info@theworldoffootball.com. I just realized recently that
we don't use it.
A number of those emails are going into my spam folder.
Oh.
I found them by accident. I don't always look at my spam folder. So if you're sending emails and we're not responding to you in a timely manner, that's the case. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what I can do to get them. I moved some of them into the regular folder, so I don't know if that will take care of the problem. But it does work. It goes to Adam and myself. We both see them, but I think they're going in both of our spam.
Well, I can't see them if they're in the spam folder.
Yeah, well, whatever. So, all right. Remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the 2 of us guys sitting right here in Kalamazoo. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job, yeah, right, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow.
And we'll see you all next week.